in your captivity? Haven't I sent my son to free you mentally? Haven't I showed you the gods of your enemies? Haven't I gave you a heart that you remember me? Haven't I help you understand your pain? Haven't I did I give you back your name? Haven't I showed you everything is vain? Haven't I in narrow path is the way? His word don't come by void. An everlasting covenant he made we can't avoid. We still see that rainbow in the sky, cause this is story. The almighty power, but y'all give him glory. Babylon is falling right before you. Haven't I? Hosea 1:10, y'all we roll you. Haven't I? The valley of the dry done came alive. Haven't I? Hosea 6:2, we been provided. Haven't I? He done sent his messengers to open up our eyes. He done sent Messiah, laid his life down and died. He telling all his prophets, y'all, that he done heard our cry. He telling all his prophets, y'all, that he done heard our cry. Send your mighty hand, you see the affliction, but get us out this lane. We know you don't change, but do it all again. Lifting up this rod over waters, trust your plan. We gon' trust your plan. Haven't I woke you up in your captivity? Haven't I sent my son to free you mentally? Haven't I showed you the gods of your enemies? Haven't I gave you a heart that you remember me? Haven't I help you understand your pain? Haven't I did I give you back your name? Haven't I showed you everything is vain? Haven't I the narrow path is the way?
That's it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Facebook Live, good morning, Breaking Strongholds Ministries. Good morning, YouTube with Orlando keeping it simple. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Everyone, Shabbat Shalom. I hope everyone is having a great Sabbath day. I hope the Most High really truly have blessed you over and abundantly with love, kindness, and joy. I hope the Most High really have truly blessed your offsprings with peace and protection and understanding of His Word. I hope that the Most High really truly have blessed your offsprings as you and you with everything your heart desire. You know, I hope the Most High really truly have. My week has been an okay week. I can't really complain too much. You know, it's been an okay week. I can't really complain. I know there's a lot going on in the world. I say that every week, but I know it is. But let us go ahead and get started this morning. Let us go ahead and turn to Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 17. And it reads, And El spake out these words, saying, I am Yahuwah thy El, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And thou shalt have no other Els before me, and thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the water, the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah, thy El, am a jealous El, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahuwah thy El in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah. The Sabbath day is the Sabbath day of Yahuwah. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy sons, nor thy daughter, thy manservants, nor thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy strangers that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the Sabbath day. Wherefore, if Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it, honor thy fathers and thy mother, that thy days be long upon the land which Yahuwah thy El giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Let us pray this morning. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine to your kingdom, power to your glory, forever and ever, so let it be. Amen, amen, amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom. For those who are practicing the Feast of Tabernacle today, I hope you have a great day today. I hope you have a great day today, and I hope you do everything that the Most High would ask you to do. If you could turn to Revelations chapter 13. Revelations chapter 13, verse 11 through 18. And I'm only going to deal with verse 15 today. And I'm only going to deal with the last 3 words. Okay? So verse 11. And it reads, I'm going to read 1 through 18. But I'm only going to deal with verse 15. And it reads, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. And he executed all the powers of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wounds was healed. And when he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceive them that dwells on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwells on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had the wounds by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small, great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. His wisdom, here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 636. 6. And I want to deal with verse 15. Verse 15 says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Should be killed. Okay? And the title of the text today, is, are you ready to be a martyr? Are you ready to be a martyr? Okay, martyr is M-A-R-T-Y-R. Are you ready to be a martyr? Okay, the definitions I have for you today is martyr. Martyr is, in Greek terms, a witness. Martyr means one who by his death bear witness to the truth of the gospel. One who bears testimony to faith, especially one who willingly suffers death rather than surrender his or her religious faith. A martyr never sets out on a path to suffer. A martyr never sets out on a path to suffer or woeful misery. Martyrs are brave people committed to a cause and willing to sacrifice all for the cause. The sacrifice is the result of their bravery and commitment. A martyr takes on the role of the hero. People who use martyr behavior tend to have a good motive for doing so. Sometimes they may be forced into the role of a martyr because of their environment. A martyr is one who by his death bears witness to the truth of the gospel. One who bears testimony to faith, especially one who willingly suffers death rather than surrender his or her religious faith. Sacrifice is to offer to God in homage or worship by killing or consuming as victim on an altar. Understand this. They said that Yeshua was a living sacrifice. Listen to that. To offer to God, to El in homage or worship by killing and consuming as victim on an altar. Sacrifice means to destroy, means to surrender or suffer to be lost for the sake of attaining something. I want to deal with that part there a little bit. A sacrifice is to destroy, to give up, or to surrender, or to suffer for loss for the sake of obtaining greater goods. That's what a sacrifice is. When you sacrifice something, you're giving up something, you're surrendering something for a greater good. But a martyr is one who gives up his life because of his religious belief for the greater good. Okay, one by his death bears witness to the truth of the gospel. This martyr is going to stand on the truth of the gospel. He's going to do everything that the gospel says. And he's willing to lose his life for that. That's a difference. It's a difference between a martyr and a sacrifice. Let me tell you the difference. There's a big difference. Okay, it is important to understand that the real martyr never sets out on a path to suffer or wallowing in misery. They are brave people committed to a cause and willing to sacrifice all for the cause. The sacrifice is a brave result of their the sacrifice is the result of their bravery and commitment, not the intentions. Okay, sacrifice is meaning that sacrifice is to trade a value of higher worth for one lesser worth in order to gain something else valued more, such as in business or something in the worldly sense. When you sacrifice something, you're sacrificing some at a lesser value so that you can get some at a greater value. Meaning that I would sacrifice not taking my lunch to work for a whole year so that I can save up and get a car at the end of the year. I'm sacrificing my lunch so that I can be able to get a car. It's sacrificing something small for something greater. And why am I talking about, and why did I bring up martyr and sacrifice today? When you look at the Bible and you look at all from the book of Genesis all the way to the book of Revelations, these authors of the books was considered to be martyrs. One meaning that he's willing to give up his life. He's willing to die for his religious or his belief in his faith in El. From the book of Genesis all the way to the book of Revelation, only thing that you see is martyrs. Martyrs is one by his death bears witness to the truth of the gospel, meaning that he was willing to die for a cause. Every prophet that you see in the Bible or the Biblio, those are considered to be martyrs because they are willing to die for a cause. Especially when it comes down to the Most High, they are willing to die for a cause. And it's a great misunderstanding. What time do we get started? It's a great misunderstanding because people think that Yahshua was a sacrifice and all the prophets was a sacrifice. No, they was a martyr dying for a cause during that time period. Huh?
19 minutes ago.
Okay. They was dying for a cause. They was dying for a cause. And we have to understand that that's what martyrs do. But the reason why they substituted prophets and they substituted all these names in there is because it takes the lesser value away from It put it in a different context. It put it in a different tense. It put it in a different category, because if we say that Jesus was a martyr, meaning that he was willing to put his life on the line for L, it's different than how we see it as he was a living sacrifice. Meaning that you're giving up something for God. No, he wasn't a living sacrifice. He was a martyr. He was a Nazarite. And most of the prophets in the Biblio was Nazarites. They are ones who's willing to do. They were set apart. Let me read you and tell you what Nazarite was. A Nazarite, coming out of my same book. Coming out of the same book, on page 7, on 749. Because we got to understand that Yeshua the HaMashiach, or Jesus the Christ, he was born in the city of Nazareth. Okay? And I'm not saying that everybody in Nazareth was a Nazarite, but you have certain people that were set aside to do certain things in the city of Nazareth. You had certain people appointed to be Nazarites. Nazarites, I'm going to read to you. Nazarite, separate or consecrated or holy. A person who took a vow to separate from certain worldly things and to consecrate himself to El. Among the Hebrew people, anyone would take this vow. There was no tribal restrictions, as in the case of the priests. Rich or poor, man or woman, master or slave, all were free to become Nazarites. And that's why Paul was saying what he was saying. Nazarites did not withdraw from society and live as hermits. However, they did agree to follow certain regulations for a specific period of time. While no number of days for the vows is given in the Old Testament, Jewish tradition prescribed 30 days or a double period of 60 or an even triple time of 90 to 100 days. Samson, Samuel, and John the Baptist were the only Nazarite for life recorded in the Bible. Before they were born, their vows were taken for them by their parents. Understanding that everybody's vows was taken before them. That's why Jeremiah said, I knew you in your mother's womb. Jeremiah was a Nazarite. He already knew the purpose of Jeremiah. When the father said, I knew you in your mother's womb. I knew what you was going to be doing before you even started doing it. Okay, and it says, one person decided to make himself holy to El. When you become a Nazarite, you become holy. You become set aside to do the mission of God. El. And it said, for some special services, he then agreed to abstain from wine or other intoxicating drinks. This prohibition was so strict that it included grapes, grape juice, and raisins. Perhaps this was to guard the Nazarite from being controlled by any spirits other than El. While under the Nazarite vow, a person also refused to cut his hair, including shaving. The purpose of this long hair was to serve as a visible sign of the Nazarite consecration to the Lord. A Nazarite also refused to touch or go near a dead body. That's why Yeshua the HaMashiach said, let the dead bury the dead, because he was not allowed to touch dead bodies, because he was considered to be a Nazarite. Okay, and then it says Nazarites couldn't even help to bury his own relatives. If a person accidentally broke his Nazarite vow, he had to undergo a ceremony of restoration for cleansing. He shaved his head, brought 2 turtle doves and 2 pigeons to the priest for offerings, and the priest made atonements for him. In addition, a Nazarite had to present a lamb for a trespass offering. It was as if he were starting all over again. The days already served under the vow did not count. When the specific period of time was completed, the Nazarite could appear before the priest for the ceremony of release. After offering a male lamb for burnt offerings, he would then offer a lamb for a sin offering. This was followed by a ram to be used as a peace offering. Next came the usual items for peace offerings. Okay. Now, I want to talk to you about when you're set aside as a Nazarite, you have basically committed your life to El. You have committed your life to El, and you are willing to die for El, be hung by the neck on the tree for El. So why do I bring all this up, being a Nazarite, being a martyr? Because if you look at all the prophets or look at all the Hebrews in the Bible, they committed their life to El. They committed themselves, and they was willing to die for El at any cost and any measure. That was what the Nazarites did. That's what the prophets did. And now look at us in the situation that we're in today. We're getting ready to go through some difficult times where they're going to cause some situations to happen where either you would take this mark or you will have to be persecuted to death. Now is the time to see whether you really, really and truly will stand on the word of Yahuwah. See, he tested you 3 years ago in November 2019. He tested your faith then at that very moment to see whether you would stand on his word then, or will you give in to what society is telling you. And now here we are, almost 3.5 years later, getting ready to face the same scenario. And the question is, are you ready to be a martyr? One who's willing to give up your life for your religious beliefs. Because it's going to come a time where it says in Genesis 15, 13 and 15. Revelation 13 and 15. It says, he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and call, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be deleted, gotten rid of. It's gonna come a point in time in life where you're gonna have to make some decisions on what you want to do with your life. How will you live your life? Are you going to live your life for Christ, or the Mashiach, or the Messiah? Or are you going to live for this world and what they tell you and how they tell you to live? Right now you're going to be tested on your faith, on your belief in the word of El. You're going to be tested in so many dynamics in the near future. You're really going to have to really trust, or you're going to really give in. You can't continue to test Yahuwah by saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and he's going to protect me doing this. No, you can't do that no more. Because the minute that you do, buy into their program, the minute that you buy into that program and take that next injection. You know what I'm talking about. In Revelation chapter 16:2 it reads, And the first went out and poured out his vials upon the earth, and there fell a newsome and grievous sores upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped the image. That means that those people who took the injection was intentionally are going to get sick. If you came out of this one unscathed, the next injection that is going to be presented, you're not going to come out unscathed. At the next time you're presented with an injection, you are going to have to stand on your belief system. You're going to have to stand on the word of Yahuwah more than ever before. If you want to be a martyr, if you want to be in the kingdom, if you want to be protected. But if you're not willing to stand on your belief system and test Yahuwah by saying, I'm going to take this injection, what's going to happen to you is going to be coming out of Revelation chapter 16 verse 2. It says, And the first went and poured out his vials upon the earth, and there fell a newsome, a sickness, and a grievous sores upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image. If you got away from being sick the first time, you want to get away from being sick the second time. So the second time is going to be more egregious. The second time is going to be more egregious. It's going to be more forceful. It's going to be more where it's a must or you have. There's no options involved in this on the next go round. You're not going to have a choice. You're going to have to do it, or you're going to should be killed. So you're going to have options. Either you do or you die. That's the options that you have. But I want to talk to you, I'm going to show you some examples of martyrs in the Bible. I want to talk to you about martyrs, people who's willing to give up everything they believe in. People who's willing to give up their life for what they believe in. And see, living this life that we have, you have to live your life on your belief system, on what you think, how you feel, what you know. Let's go to David. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 16. See, and it shows you in the Biblio that, or the Bible, that those who was really anointed by the Most High was really truly willing to give up everything that they had for the Most High. And those who truly are not anointed by the Most High, they wasn't ready to give up their life for the Most High. 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 12, and it reads, this is talking about David. And he sent and brought him in. Samuel called in David. David's father called him in from the yard, because Samuel was looking for the king to anoint the next king, because Saul had messed up. Okay, he sent and brought David in. Now he is ruddy, means beautiful, black, with all a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And Yahuwah said, arise and anoint him, for this is he. See, the reason why, one of the main reasons why most prophets in the Testaments was willing to give up their life is because they had the Spirit of the Most High upon them. And they was willing to do whatever they had to do because of that Spirit, that Ruach HaKodesh was on them. The Ruach HaKodesh was guiding them more than they was guiding themselves. So they didn't have a problem of willing to give their life for Yahuwah. If you do not have a great relationship or understanding for the Most High, no, you will not be willing to give up your life for him, or the Spirit, or the truth. You will not be willing to give up your life for the truth. But if you have that relationship, you have that understanding, you'll be willing to give yourself up for the truth. Okay. Then we see that Samuel anointed David in verse 12. Let's see what happened to Saul in verse 15. I'm going to verse 14 first. It had to be a transformation of spirits. Okay? And then it says, but the Spirit of Yahuwah departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from Yahuwah troubled him. And Saul's servant saw unto him, behold, now an evil spirit from El troubles you. So what happened was, Saul had the Spirit of Yahuwah on him. That's why Saul did not have a problem going out fighting the battles for Yahuwah, because the Spirit of Yahuwah was on Saul. That's why Saul never had a problem fighting for Yahuwah. Understand that. When you have that Spirit of the Most High upon you, you don't mind standing on his word. You don't mind doing what his word say do. You don't mind putting your life on the line for Yahuwah. But when the Spirit of Yahuwah is not on you, you will be like this in chapter 7. Let's go to chapter 17. Let's go down to verse 33. Hold on. Let's go to chapter 17, verse 10 and 11 in 1 Samuel. Because we understand that the spirit of Yahuwah was off Saul and went to David in chapter 16. This is the transfer of the spirit. This is the transfer of anointing. This is the transfer of one giving themselves for Yahuwah. Okay, in chapter 17, verse 10, it says, "And the Philistines said, I defile the army of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together." Listen to that. Listen to what verse 17 say, 11 say. "And when Saul, the king of Israel, and all Israel heard those words of the Philistines, they were dismayed and greatly afraid." The reason why Saul and the children of Israel was afraid is because Saul no longer had the anointing of the Most High upon him. So Saul is not willing to go out and fight for Yahuwah because the spirit of Yahuwah was not on Saul no more. So when the spirit of Yahuwah was not on Saul no more, he's not willing to go do what it needs to be done to go fight for Yahuwah. Understand that. So when we look at what happened in the last 2.5 years, now we can understand why some people did what they did, is because the spirit of Yahuwah was not on them, because they wasn't willing to stand on the truth. They was willing to be led by the world and what man say. See, when you have the spirit of Yahuwah on you, you will be willing to stand on the word. No matter how much that building shakes, no matter how much trouble you feel like you're going to go through, you got to stand on that word in the midst of everything that's going on. You got to give up everything that you have for the truth. So now let us go down to verse 33. Listen to the conversation in verse 32. Listen to the conversation in verse 32. Listen to the conversation, because listen who's talking and who's saying who to what to who. Listen to it now. Because you got to understand the transfer of the spirits. Saul had an evil spirit on him, and David had the spirit of the Most High on him. Now listen to listen to verse 32. "And David said, the servant, the young lad, said to the king, Let no man's heart fail because of Goliath. Listen, thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine." David is telling the king of Israel, man, don't you be afraid of this Goliath. I'm going to go fight this Goliath for you. You see the shift? You see the shift? You see the authority? You see the tenacity that David had when he had the spirit of Yahuwah on him? David was willing to give his life for Yahuwah and the kingdom of Israel. And that's something you got to be willing to do. Even in the midst of this time right here, right now, you got to be willing to give up everything that you have for Yahuwah and the truth. So now let us read verse 33. And then now look what Saul. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him. For thou art but a youth, and he's a man of war from his youth. Now listen to what David said. We're talking about the David who's anointed by El, and Saul who's a frightened king. And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep. There came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. Listen, I went after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him. Listen to this. This is the key part on why David really is going to fight. It says, thy servant slew both the lion and the bear. And this uncircumcised Philistines be as one of them, seeing he has defiled the army of the living El. David said, moreover, Yahuwah, that listen. David said, moreover, Yahuwah that delivered me out of the paws of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hands of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and Yahuwah will be with thee. See, at this moment that we're in right now, you got to be willing to be all in. You got to be willing to be all in right now at this moment. Okay, let's go to Revelations chapter 3. Chapter 3, verse 15 and 16. Chapter 3, Revelations chapter 3, verse 15 and 16. It says, I know thy works. Talking to the church. Talking to the church. Talking to the church. It says, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou art cold or hot. He said, I wish you was either one, cold or hot. He says, so then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. And what the Father is saying in this text here, you can't waver in this midst. In this time right now, you cannot waver. You got to be either one way or the other. You can't be a fence rider right now. You got to stand on his word, and you got to do what his word say do. And you got to put all your faith and all your trust and all your belief in the spirit of the Ruach HaKodesh right now. You got to be able to put all of that in the spirit of the truth right now. And you got to throw his word back in his face and say, you told me if I stand on your word. You told me if I do this. And you told me if I do that. And the spirit is obligated to do what she say do, because she said, my word will not go out and return unto me void. So the reason why David, let's go back to 1 Samuel, chapter 17, verse 36. The reason why David, let's go to verse 37, I'm sorry. 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 37. The reason why David really truly fought the fight is because of what Yahuwah did for him. Because he knew what Yahuwah would do for him. And see, that's where it comes in. We got to be encouraged in Yahuwah during this midst right now. It says David, moreover, Yahuwah that delivered me out of the paws of the lion, out of the paws of the bear. He delivered me out of the hands of this Philistine. He will. David didn't go in thinking. David didn't go in contemplating. David didn't go in saying, I don't know. David knew for sure on what Yahuwah would do for him. Because he said, if he did it for me back then, why won't he do it for me now? Let's go to Judges. Judges chapter 13. Because we're going to have to make some tough decisions. And the decision we make is going to be based on our relationship and our understanding of Yahuwah. Judges chapter 13 verses 3 through 5 first. This is talking about Samson. And I just read you about the Nazarites, right? The Nazarites. Okay, and it says, and the angel of Yahuwah appeared unto the woman and said unto her, behold now, thou art bearing, and beareth not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Talking about Samson. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. Listen to this. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite unto El. He shall be set apart unto El. He shall be holy and consecrated unto El from the womb. Listen, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hands of the Philistines. That was the main purpose of Samson. That was the main purpose of Samson's job, was to deliver the children of Israel out of the hands of the Philistines, just like it was David's job to deliver us out of the hands of the Philistines. But we all know the story of Samson and how he how he did everything that he did with Delilah, how he went around and persecuted, how he did everything that he did. We understand that. But when you are a Nazarite, you're set aside to do one purpose, and that is to defend the children of Israel. And to stand on the word of El. Now let us go to chapter 16, verse 23 through 29. Chapter 16, in Judges chapter 16, verses 23 through 29. This is when he messed up. Samson messed up. Samson's hair was cut for laying with Delilah, really, because he shouldn't have never laid with Delilah, which was a woman out of his tribe. So the Most High allowed that woman to tell, he allowed Samson to tell that woman the reason why he has so much strength. And it was because the strength was in his hair. But Samson shouldn't have never laid with Delilah. But I want us to understand something. You will not leave this earth until you do your purpose. You will not leave this earth until you do your purpose. Samson's job was to die for the children of Israel. Because he was set apart to defend the children of Israel, because he was a Nazarite. And understand that that was his main job, was to protect and to defend the children of Israel. Now let us read 23 through 29. Then it says, and then the lords of the Philistines gathered them together for to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon, their God, and to rejoice, for they said, our God has delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands. And when the people saw him, they praised their gods, and for they said, our God has delivered into our hands our enemy, and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. And it says, and it came to pass when their hearts was merry. Listen to the situation now. And it came to pass when their hearts was merry, that they said, call for Samson, that he may make us sport. And they called for Samson out of the prison house, and he made them sport, and they set him before the pillows. Listen to this. And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, suffer me that I may feel the pillows whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines was there. And there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson made sport. Listen to this. And Samson called upon Yahuwah and said, O Yahuwah, El, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me, I pray thee, only this once, O El, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my two eyes. And Samson took hold of the two pillars. And Samson took hold of the two middle pillars upon which the house stood, and on which it was borne up, of the one with the right hand and of the other on the left. Listen to this. Listen. Samson was set apart, set aside to protect and die for Israel. Listen to this. And Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell upon the lords and upon the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which he slew in his life. Samson was willing to give his life for the cause. Prior to this, Samson has started to grow back. Prior to this, Samson's hair was starting to grow back. But Samson was willing to be a martyr, to give up his life, to give up everything for his faith, for his belief. Let us go to Luke chapter 1. Verses 24 through 26. This is talking about John the Baptist was a Nazarite and Yeshua the HaMashiach was a Nazarite. Both of them were set apart to do great works. And it reads, and after those days his wife Elizabeth conceived and hid herself 5 months, saying, this has the Lord dealt with me in the days wherein he looked upon me to take away my reproach among men. Listen to this. And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from El unto the city of Galilee, named Nazareth, to a virgin expound to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin was named Miriam or Mary. And the angel came unto her and said, hail, thou that art highly favored, Yahuwah is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation is this. So when Gabriel came to Miriam or Mary, she was telling her that you have a child in your stomach, and he's an anointed child. He's an anointed child for a specific purpose and for a specific reason. And see, some of us, right now, at this appointed time, we have to understand that we are here for a specific purpose and a specific mission. We are here right now for a specific purpose and for a specific reason. We can't just think that we are an average Joe. We have to understand that we who really truly believe in the word of El, we are set apart. We are Nazarites. We are martyrs for the word. That's why Paul said in Romans chapter 11, chapter 12, verse 1. That's why Paul said this. I beseech you therefore, brethren, Hebrews, by the mercy of El, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice. Meaning give up yourself for the word. Holy, holy acceptable unto El, which is your reasonable service. What service mean is render religious homage, to serve, to do the service, to worship. This is something he's saying. This is something that you're required to do. This is something that you're required to do. That's why he said, I'm a prisoner to El. Because he said, I don't have a choice but to do what I am doing. I don't have a choice but to be a martyr for Yahuwah, because this is who I am. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I believe. So let us go back to Luke chapter 2. Understand that Jesus, Miriam and Jesus' family, Yeshua family, was in Nazareth. Luke chapter 2, verse 22, verse 24. And I want you to understand what is spoken in verse 23. It says, and when the day of her purification according to the law of Moses were accomplished, they brought Yeshua to Jerusalem to present him to Yahuwah. As it is written in the law of Yahuwah, every man that opens the womb shall be called holy unto El. See, when Yahuwah came out of the womb of Mary, he was the first child that came out of the womb of Mary. So he was supposed to be dedicated to Yahuwah regardless of whatever the situation is. It was customary that Mary dedicate Yeshua to Yahuwah regardless of, because he was the firstborn that come out of the womb. That's why it had to be. That's why it had to be rendered. That's why. Okay, now that's why Yahuwah was dedicated to the Lord, is because he was the first one to open the womb. Every first child should be dedicated back to the Lord. And that's in Exodus 13. Let me go to Exodus 13:2. It says, Exodus 13:2, it says, sanctify unto me all the firstborn. Whosoever opens the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and of beast, it is mine. So that's why Miriam or Mary gave Yeshua back to Yahuwah, is because she was supposed to do that, because that is the children of Israel's traditions. He was supposed to be that martyr for the children of Israel. He was supposed to be that sacrifice for the children of Israel. He was supposed to be that because he came out of Nazareth. He was a Nazarite that was set apart to do the work of Yahuwah. In verse 13 it says, and to offer a sacrifice according to that which is said in the law of the Yahuwah. A pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons. So now when we see that Yeshua was born in Nazareth. He was set apart. He was set apart to be dedicated back to Yahuwah. He was considered to be a Nazarite. He didn't cut his hair. He didn't bury the dead. He didn't drink wine. He was dedicated to the children of Israel. Let us go to Matthew 1 and 21. And I'm about finished. And see, that's why we get the misunderstanding that we have to live a life of modernism, a martyrdom. We got to be a martyr. We got to be willing to give up everything we have for Yahuwah. Matthew 1 and 21, and it says, "And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins." A Nazarite is dedicated and set apart to save his people Israel. Just like Samuel, just like David, just like Samson, just like all the old prophets. And it tells you in Matthew 1 and 21 that he shall save his people from their sins. Okay, let us go to Matthew 15 and 24. This is what he's saying in red letters. "But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel." So he knew exactly who he came for. He knew who he came to do what. He knew he came to be a martyr for the children of Israel and Israel only. He knew that. He knew his purpose. He knew that he was ready to be a martyr. So now let me read you this little article real fast. And I'm done. PolitiFacts. It came out March 30, 2021. Quarantine camps takes New York public's health risk too far. Are there quarantine camps in New York? Will you be in prison if you are suspicious of illness? There are questions calculating on social media by a New York State rule developing during the pandemic over quarantine and isolations. The rule draws a lawsuit and sparks panic online. The state is appealing a lower court decision, and arguments are expected this fall. Okay, the lawsuit on the regulations of Section 2.2-113 of Title 10 of the official codes, rules, and regulations of the state of New York adopted during the pandemic. The rule has been extended in 90 days period, and the state has said it wants to make it permanent. The rule states, for the purpose of quarantine orders, quarantine locations may include home quarantines, other residence or temporary housing quarantines, or quarantines at such other locations as the public health authority issuing orders or deem appropriate, consistent with any direction that the state or commission of health may issue. Okay. That happened in 2021. They just had the second hearing yesterday, this week, on what they're going to make, if it's possible, these quarantine camps in New York. They had a hearing yesterday. They had a hearing on Thursday and Wednesday about these quarantine camps in New York. In case if anybody gets sick, they can take you to a quarantine camp. And when you're in that quarantine camp, they can do whatever they want to do to you, how they want to do to you, what they want to do to you. They can give you any kind of medication they want to, and nothing that you can do about it. Now, it's going to come a point in time, are you going to be willing to stand for your rights? Or are you going to be willing to stand on the truth? Because all of it is coming down like a floodgate. Because the Most High already said in Revelations 13 and 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And they can even give you the image of the beast, or the mark of the beast, when you're in those quarantine camps, and there's nothing that you can do about it. So are you ready to be a martyr? Are you willing to give up your life for what you believe in this moment and day and time? Because you're going to have to make some hard decisions. I gave you 3 examples of us having martyrs in the Bible. They call them witnesses. Stephen was a witness. He was a martyr. He gave up his life for the word. Yeshua's brother Stephen gave up his life for the word because he was preaching the word. He was willing to give up his life. Dr. King gave up his life. He was assassinated. He gave up everything that he had for the word, for truth. Malcolm gave up his life for the truth. We have had so many martyrs out here today. They was willing to give up everything they had to stand on the truth. Are you going to be willing to stand on the truth? Or are you going to be willing to do whatever it takes to survive? Because in Revelation chapter 20, verse 4, and I'm done, I'm going to say this. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that was beheaded for the witness, for the martyrs of Yeshua, and for the word of El, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither received his mark upon their forehead or in their hand. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. See, it's a great reward in being a martyr. It's great reward in being a martyr. The great reward is being able to reign with Christ in end time. It's great reward in giving up your soul and your life for Christ, because you can be able to reign with him at the end. You got to be willing to give up everything you have to be able to reign with Christ 1,000 years. So the question is, are you ready to be a martyr? Because you're going to have to make some decisions. All the prophets and all the people in the Testaments were martyrs. They gave up themselves for what they believed in. So that concludes the teachings for today. I'm going to let you go. And I'm going to let you finish having a nice Sabbath day. So, Father, as we come to you today, we thank you, we bless you, we praise you, we give you all the honor and the glory. Abba, we thank you for everything you have done and what you continue to do. Abba, we thank you for allowing us to see the way you want us to see, hear the way you want us to hear, and speak the way you want us to speak. Abba, we thank you for everything that you're doing. We thank you for your word not going out and coming back void. Abba, we just thank you for just being who you are. We ask that you continue to be continue to do what you're doing. But strengthen us in our belief right now so that we can stand on your word, so that we can be the martyr that you want us to be. Allowing us been told that he was sacrificed, but no, he gave up. He gave up. He was a martyr. Your son was a martyr, and all the prophets was a martyr for you. And the question is, are we going to be martyrs for you? In this modern day and time, are we going to give up everything that we have for you? The Ruach HaKodesh and the spirit and the truth of the word. Are we going to be willing to give everything up for that? We ask that you help us to do that, so that we can reign with you for 1,000 years. We ask that you continue to lead us and guide us and protect us, and also protect our offsprings as they travel highways and byways. Give us the strength to stand. And all these things we pray in your higher name. So let it be. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Y'all have a blessed one.
Salvation getting close, we can taste it in here. We can do the Lord's, we ain't got no fear. The end time here, it done got more clear. Messiah in the heaven, really opening the seal. The wedding in his hand, really following the wheel. They talk about hot, but that sun too real. The judge on the throne by the show mighty feel. Them crystals can't save, them idols can't save, that money can't save, that church can't save. The Holy One is able, the only one can save. He's sending out them prophets, will you hearken to the way? Or would you stand with pride? Would you mock him to his face? When it all fall down, just remember that day. Pestilence and wars, the nations being used, really turning on the whore. Martyr my people while I'm opening the door. Babylon had them drunk, but not no more. We at the end of time, open up your eyes. Euphrates River dry, it's time to pick a side. He pouring out vows, Revelation 16:9 right now. Messiah on his way, we gon' bow right down. Ain't nowhere to run when them trumpets sound. We gon' follow Christ, I can't dump my crown. I can't dump my crown. I can't dump my crown. Let the horns blow.